Hi neighbors, it's your girl Fenyx Blue sharing lyrics, lessons, and lifestyle with you. Today I have the pleasure of doing an author interview, my favorites. Stay tuned. Hi True Blues. Today we have a special guest. I am so happy that she is here. She's going to introduce herself to you, and then we're going to have a little conversation, and you get to be the little bee in the room listening. All right. So let's let her introduce herself right now.
Hi, everyone. My name is LaKisha Troxler-Tucker. I am so excited to be here this evening. I am an author. I am a poet. I am a school teacher. I am a preacher. I am just anybody that God wants to use as a vessel. So I'm so excited to be here with you and to share some of the works that He has blessed me with that I can share with you.
Absolutely. I am so glad. Wow. We are so lucky to have you here. I'm thankful for you coming and, just sitting down and having a little girl time chat with me, right?
Woo-hoo.
Author to author. So I want to start with the obvious question, because I think there's so many people that watch, and when they have an author, they're thinking like, what made that author write their story? Right? So I am very curious. I know you're going to tell us like about the specifics, but what made you even write your story?
And so what made me write my story was that my baby girl came home, and when she came home, the next day, I was trying to do her hair. And in trying to do her hair, the traditional quick brush up into a puff, she expressed to me, no, I can't wear my hair that way. And so I'm like, well, if I say you can wear your hair that way, that's quick. I'm late. We have to go.
Yeah.
And so in conversation, she expressed that the teacher had asked her not to wear her hair like that because it was so big that the other students could not see around. And so in hearing her say that, it was very hurtful as an educator to know that someone would say that, to know that they would allow other children to hop on that same bandwagon. And so I wanted to find a way to not only support my daughter who had natural hair, but the world who has embraced natural hair. So how could I support them? And so I wanted to write a book. And I remember thinking, like, I had been writing blogs forever, but I wanted to get past the blog and write a book. And so I've been praying to God that He would send me a book. And so one morning I woke up, and when prayer happens, He just takes over. So one morning I woke up, and all of a sudden this book is just flowing. And there was the book.
Wow.
So that's how I came to write the first book. It was through adversity that God used a negative situation to really triumph, to make it a positive situation.
Absolutely. And you took that pen and you wrote that story. Educator to educator, to have someone to say that, I just can't even believe, you know what I mean? That is just like, wow. Who would say that, especially, whenever it happened, that is, wow. Under my girlfriend here, I definitely am a natural sister. And, I just, take pride in that. And there's so many young ladies now because of books like yours and seeing that natural hair is beautiful, they've embraced it. And I like that we can have a little bit of everything. Braids like you, maybe I can have a girlfriend, maybe I can have a natural puff. We can do all of that, and we should be able to express that, especially in school where you're supposed to be able to be yourself.
Absolutely.
Wow. So I'm so glad that you took that adversity and you made it into a triumph and into a story. So that is really, really good. So how long have you been writing? Because you did mention, you had a little something going, not the book yet, but how long have you been writing?
I started blogging in 2014. I started on WordPress, and one of my coworkers was blogging, and I was just asking her what she was doing. And so she was telling me, oh, you should start blogging. And I was thinking, I'm a person who failed the second grade. What do you mean I should start blogging? No, ma'am. And before you know it, I had my own WordPress set up. and everything. And I was blogging, writing about life situations that transpire, you know, on a day-to-day kind of basis. So it just started off with me telling people about day-to-day stories. And then the stories became more impactful as I was no longer a novice at it, the more experience I gathered. So I've been writing since about 2014.
Wow, that is really awesome. And it's funny, you know, sometimes we do think in order to be a writer or a great writer, you have to like you said, look, I failed second grade. You have to be this like perfect student or this like really educated person, but really it was your storytelling, the art of that, the craft of that, and that you actually have a life, you have life experience that people want to read about, because that's what makes the best story. So I'm so glad that you were willing to put that down. It didn't have to be perfect, didn't have to be flawless. It just had to be authentic in your story. So I'm so glad that you did that, and you continue to do that in your works and in your books. Okay. And the books to come. For some reason, I just feel like there's going to be more.
Honey, speak those things as though they are. I believe it. Yes.
So speaking of being a writer, then, what has been your most fun day as a writer so far? If you had to say, like, this was the most fun day that I mean, other than today, you know, of course, this interview, but what else has been a really fun day for you as a writer?
One of the things that I would say is in writing Delia's Oh No Second Grade, I had a story for my son. I had a story for the baby in her hair, but I did not have a story for my middle baby. And so people kept saying, like, you got to do a story for her. You got to write a book for her. And I kept expressing to them, I can't write what God doesn't give me. So if I write it out of order or out of sequence, it won't honor God. And so when the book came to me, I was finished in my mind with the book. And so I would say one of the funniest days to me was when I showed my daughter. I was like, Delia, here's the book that I have written for you. She reads it and she's like, no, I don't really like that. We need to change this, that. And so I immediately said to her, I said, you know what? I can already tell I'm not going to like working with you. And so that was one of the things.
She was an editor.
That stood out to me. You know, you don't get the opportunity really to work with your children in ways such as that, to write manuscripts and books and things like that with them. And so in having the opportunity to do that with her and bring her in and go back and forth, okay, now we need to edit it. And so those were some of the funniest days, because she would come in there and we would get started and I'd be like, why? But there were some of the happiest moments that you have, because you don't get those opportunities much. And so to spend time with your children, not just laughing and giggling, but actually developing and teaching and coaching leadership skills and then passing on a legacy is something completely different. So those what I would think would be some of my best times, would be writing with her and going back and forth.
I love her honesty. I mean, you know, you're gonna have reviewers anyway, so it might be like, might as well be the real audience. So that is really great. You know, I had the pleasure to work with my son and daughter on my stories as well, and that was like my favorite part, because you know my son is a little more of a reluctant reader, and if you can get him, then hey, you can have the whole world. So once I was like, okay, he's hooked, then that's good. So I'm so glad that your children are involved in the process, and that they're so honest, and that you're building entrepreneurs themselves and maybe even future writers, because they know the process.
I'm praying so. They laugh when I say that, but I'm praying so that they would pick this up and that they would continue what it is that we have started together.
Wonderful. So that sounds like part of what success would look like for you. But if you had to define success to you as a writer, because we have people that watch and they want to be writers, authors, they want to be published, and just being published is success, you know, like, and I agree, you know, that's a big step. but what else is success to you? If you had to say, hey, success for me is this, how does it look or sound or feel?
Whew. Success for me is taking opportunities, life situations, obstacles, taking those, almost molding them into clay, and then taking those nuggets that you need out of those situations to turn you into what it is that God would have you to be. So when I think about success, and I know people, often think, oh my God, everybody's talking about God or everybody's doing this. But for me, it is so authentic because I want to do everything I can to please him. And so when I think about success, I think about, God, what would you have me to do next? God, what is it that you would want me to do? And so as long as he keeps giving me ideas, and as long as he keeps giving me books or whatever is next that he wants me to do, then I would determine or feel that I am successful. As long as I'm in the will of God, I would say that I am successful.
Absolutely. The person who gave you the story in the first place.
Yes.
I love it. Okay. Our creator, rather. Okay. So your favorite snack, like here you are, you're writing. I like people to know about your process. So if you had to tell me, when you are writing these masterpieces, right? We know your children are along for the journey. You have adversity in mind. You have a purpose. But what are you snacking on? Like, what are you eating?
Whew. I love to snack on not Cheetos, but cheese puffs.
Oh.
I love cheese puffs, and I love the almond biscuits. They're like almond butter biscuits, but it's almost like a sandwich. And then the salty and chewy almond bars. So they have like almond, peanut, cashew, and like dark chocolate, cherry. But I love the almond bars. And so before I know it, I'm like, oh, Ella, go get me another one. Go get me another one. And so I do need snacks to fuel the thinking. Sometimes I just go, and then think, wait, did I get anything? Somebody get me a bar. Right. And so snacking on the bars and the biscuits and definitely the cheese puffs and a nice Coca-Cola will help you get where you need to be.
Wonderful. I hope that our viewers can see that, can visualize you, it's like, oh, there she is with her biscuits at the bar. Okay, very good. Thank you so much. All right. So something else that I wanted to know that I wanted to make a point of is your actual place where you write. Now, let me say why. Because someone like me who's been writing since the age of 6, I didn't have a special place that I wrote. Like I'm that girl on the stairs or on the couch, like cuddle. But now this last year, 2020, I created an office for myself. And I feel like I've been more productive because I have a special place. I'm wondering if we have that in common, or do you have a certain place where you like to write?
Well, every room in my house is occupied. And so we have what is called the girls' den. And so sometimes I may start in the girls' den where, we have the TV and where we all just kind of like sit and hang out. But for the most part, I am the most comfortable and I have the greatest thoughts in my bedroom. And I've often wondered if that's because that's where I pray the most. So like when I'm sitting in there, I may have a thought or two and grab my phone to put it into the notes or something. But for the most part, if I'm in my room, I can just like go. So my writing place would be my room.
Hey, yeah, that sounds like a nice place to be, especially since I don't have that ladies' den that you talked about. Okay, so that's where you write. Do you have any other hobbies? Because sometimes as writers, people think that's all we're doing all day. You're just like, there's a mountain behind you, maybe a beach, and you just have your feet kicked up and you're just writing. But maybe not. There may be some other things that you do as a writer. So are there some other hobbies that you enjoy in addition to be an excellent writer?
Absolutely. I love a sunrise, a sunset, and rainbows. So I will see them and my son is 25, and so he's not in the car as much. But when I see them, I'm like, wait. Do y'all see that rainbow? And they're often like, Mom, we don't have glasses, so we can't see the stuff that you can see. But I love a beach sunrise. I love a beach sunset. I love when the moon first appears and it is its biggest, because oh my goodness. So just little natural occurrences like that, I just absolutely love. Sunrise, sunset, and rainbows.
Wow. I love that. I love that. That is a great thing to just basically you enjoy the, just everyday moments of life that are just really special. Sometimes we, when I say hobby, you're thinking all these things and you're like, I enjoy, a nice sunset, and that's beautiful. And the beach, that's life for me. So we have that in common. Life. I love the beach, the water. I can go to sleep.
Yes.
I need it in the background so I could just rest.
And you've got to stay beachfront when you go. Like, you just can't stay at the beach. Like, you've got to stay beachfront to be able to hear the waves come in and go out. So it's I'm kind of I guess I would say a nature buff, because those are the things that make me most comfortable and most relaxed.
Love it. I love it. Okay, so we know a little bit about your journey and your processes. Even I know what you're eating, I know what you like, but I'm wondering who inspires you as a writer? Like, who would you say is either a mentor to you or someone that you look up to as a writer? Because, that's important. People, are sure going to look up to you. Is there someone that inspires you?
I definitely would say Maya Angelou. Just the phenomenon of a woman that she was, her writing style. We don't have the same writing style. I use more of a rhyming style, but just her passion and her dedication. I hope to one day have that same passion and dedication and be able to touch, beyond the walls or beyond a social media, like she has been able to do. So she's just top of the line for me when it comes to people that I look up to as far as writing is concerned.
Yeah, she definitely left a lasting legacy.
Yes.
And, just an impact in every area, in lots of areas. So that is a great person to look up to. So let's look forward for a little while, okay, and look forward to the next 3 years. I know you have some things that are going to be coming up, as you leave this legacy, as you impact young girls and you impact different generations with your stories. What does the next 3 years look like for you? Of course, the bite-sized piece. What is it? The bite-sized version. What are you hoping for?
My goodness, that is an excellent question. So, during an interview, your children do things that they should not do. And so I'm not sure why my dog is doing things that he should not do. So now my table is wobbling. Get back.
But you still look good for some reason. That's good.
Goodness gracious. So when I think about the 3 years, I actually read to our students at our school. And, when you just get into the habit of doing what you're doing on that regular routine, that same routine, writing, working, taking care of your kids, sometimes you don't think beyond like just the next book. And so as I read to them, one of the things that one of the students asked is, he says, Miss Tucker, so do you plan not to teach one day and to be a writer? And I thought, wow, I said, I've not even gotten that far. And so when I think about the next 3 years for me, I just want to keep writing.
Yeah.
I just want to keep writing, and I just want to keep writing. And so if God takes away the opportunity to teach in a building and in a classroom, and it's to teach people about writing and motivation and things like that, then that's what I'll do. But I haven't thought about what the next 3 years would be like for me. Like, I just think about the next book, the next book, the next book. And so right now I'm thinking about the next 2 books you know, and like what they'll be and how I'll get those into fruition. So the next 3 years, I want to keep writing. And I want to have not necessarily bestsellers, but I want to have books that have a powerful impact on people, that has a lasting impact on them and their situation.
I love that. So that sounds huge in itself. You know, it seems simple. I want to keep writing. You know, you could have said, hey, I'm done. So you want to keep writing, and you definitely want, there's more books to come, which is great for the audience to know there's more books to come. So be ready. And you just want to make a big impact, and that's great. You know, those are great goals to have. All right. So I want to know, do you have the book to show us, you know, and to tell us about, like, why should we just run out right now and get this book?
So I have all of them down here. So you stop me. But here is the most recent book, and it is Delia's Oh No, Second Grade. And it is a true account, some fiction, some nonfiction, of what Delia experienced in second grade, some of the fears and worries that she faced in going into second grade, and then learning how, through different situations, learning how to get through those trials and tribulations to be able to be triumphant in second grade. So that is Delia's Oh No, Second Grade. She's a 7-year-old girl who's like frightened out of her wits. So, you know, she's packing her book bag the night before she goes to school, like we all do, writing your name on everything.
Yes.
But in the same time, she's having these anxieties about going to second grade. So that is Delia's Oh No, Second Grade. I think that book, along with this book, I Just Want to Be Me, will inspire. I Just Want to Be Me is the book about my daughter's hair. And so it will inspire parents and aunts, uncles, dads, whoever's reading that book. We actually went into depth into doing scripture in the back. We did where you could draw pictures with the person that you were reading with, where you could really ask comprehensive questions. What is it that you got from reading this? Because we wanted to make the book that impactful. And so that book just teaches learning how to embrace who God created you to be, and to be able to stand firm in what it is that you have been taught. And so the third book is a memoir, A Son's Journey. It's a memoir of learning to let go. And so that book is about my son deciding to go to the Marine Corps when I had my own plans for him. And he was like, no, Mom, I'm not going to college. I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that. I want to live my own life.
There you go.
And so he was doing exactly what I had taught him to do and had been preparing him to do. But when we got there, it was like a complete train wreck, because I wasn't ready to say, okay, here's your life. Here are the keys to your life. You can handle it, and you can drive your own vehicle. And so in this particular memoir, it teaches people how to get past holding on to them. I can remember it was one day I was writing this book, and I was going to work, and I was crying again because my son was leaving. And I remember God so plainly said to me, like I could hear his voice speaking to me like he was in the next seat. Wow. And he said to me, do you see the trees swaying? And I thought, yes, like the wind's blowing. Like, okay, I can see that. And I remember hearing God say, if the trees and the leaves can trust me to sway and move when I tell them to, why is it that you can't trust me that I'll take care of him when he goes beyond wherever it is that he wants to go? And so we stood on the 91st Psalm and knowing that God would protect him wherever he is. And so it's a book that parents can use in learning to let go and walking through the different steps. And lastly, there's a journal that kind of coincides with it. It's Learning to Thrive Through Tough Transitions. And what that is just a 30-day journal to help people jot out daily. It's a biblical question, a scripture, and then there's a space to write. And what that journal does is, no matter whether you're grieving, whether it is that you've been through a divorce, no matter what your loss is, what your issue is, it helps to guide you and narrow in and focus on how do I move from where I am now and transition through this tough time to be able to get through it and then to get to my next assignment, you know? So the last book we have is at the Illustrator, and it should be here, like it should have already been here, but you know how that can go from time to time.
Trying to give birth, got to keep pushing, because you know.
Yes, yes. So I'm about 10 centimeters,
right,
dilate. And so it is The Adventures of Kieran and Kovu, the Bionic Dog. So it's about a little boy who wants a dog, and his mother adamantly says no. And there's a certain situation that happens in the book that makes her say yes. And then once she says yes, he is the happiest little boy. And so they have all of these adventures after he gets this dog. So that's what we have right now to offer.
Wow, that is awesome. I know that you saw at least one thing that you want to go and you want to. I mean, there's a second grader. There's someone going through some type of transition. There's someone who's wondering, who am I? And do I accept myself for who God created me to be? There's someone out there who loves dogs. I mean, someone has a book that they had. I know you've heard something. So we will support her, okay, for sure. And of course, that information is going to be in the notes for this video. I want to know for sure, I only have 2 more questions. And number one, a very important question always for me, and it is, what do you want to be remembered for? You told us about a lot of stories, and you've shared your books with us, but, you know, and your faith. And I'm wondering, what do you want to be remembered for? And please use your name.
I, LaKisha L. Troxler-Tucker, I want to be remembered as having a lasting footprint where I cultivate, motivate, inspire, encourage, educate, and I long to help people thrive, to get out of that rut that we can just get in and stay stagnant. My goal is to help move people from one place to another. So however we have to do that, picking ourselves up by the bootstrap, that's what I want to be able to help people do. So just call me the bootstrapper picker-upper.
All right, bootstrapper picker-upper.
Let me help you move from one place to another so that you can see what your life has in store for you, what your process is. So that's what I like to be known for. That is such an awesome question. You really don't think about that often. Like, what footprint do you want to leave in life? You know, is it all the money? Absolutely not. But to think about what you could do and what you could leave for people outside of yourself and your family is very, very important.
Absolutely. And lastly, because our audience is both readers and purchasers of books, hey guys, but also aspiring writers, people who want to write and want to publish. So if you could give them some advice before we exit and move on, what advice would you give? I'm sure there's some lessons that you learned along the way, some mistakes, you know, or even maybe just want to give them some advice. What would that be?
I would say, as a beginning writer, to write. Keep your notebook beside you. For me, I keep my phone with me all the time. So I'll say, Siri, make a note. Siri, make a note. Siri, make a note. And so I make lots and lots of notes, never erase them. When you begin writing, never use your eraser to always maybe just go under it and write another thought that you think you want to replace that with. To never give up. To never quit, even if you have a failure, even if a person gives you a negative review, that's their own opinion and they gave you that review. It could have been a childhood trigger about something that you wrote. Keep pressing your way forward. We know the only way to not make diamonds is through pressure. Yeah. So to keep pressing your way forward, never give up, never quit. And when somebody tells you that, oh, I don't think you can do that, to dig deep, pull yourself up by the bootstraps and say, whatever the devil says you can't do, to know that you can do. So get yourself up, pull those bootstraps up, and keep going forward. You know, it's a cinch by the inch.
Yeah.
And so whatever you have to do to keep spinning, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can, to keep thinking and knowing that you can. So as a aspiring writer, do not give up. Keep all of your notes, all of your ideas, even if you put them in individual notebooks, keep them all. And one day they will come together. You'll be able to grab this one, and it will just all come together, and it'll just be like rolling down the road. And your idea, before you know it, is actually a book or two.
Absolutely. I love that you say when they tell you that you can't do this, not if, because someone's going to tell you. It's a when they tell you, and you just have to be prepared to never, ever, ever give up and to have faith in yourself. So I just want to thank you again for coming and, you know, expressing what you've been accomplishing so far, sharing your books and your journey and your story with us. It has been a pleasure. And to all the True Blues watching, we thank you for watching this whole interview. I'm going to let her say bye-bye, but I want to say a bye-bye ahead of time. So you want to close us out with a, you know, bye-bye?
Thank you so much to everybody for watching. Thank you for the purchases that you're going to make, or for the words that you're going to share with others about this book. Thank you for tuning in and supporting Fenyx Blue. Thank you, and thank you.
Thank you, guys. Social media, she's on there, so check her out there too. I will put everything in the notes. All right. Woohoo!
Okay.
Thanks for visiting. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Bye-bye.